https://discord.gg/flat-earth. Welcome to 24/7 Flat Earth Discord channel. Be sure to go to VC Check and 1 to get your VC verification tags to get involved in the conversation about our Earth. Be sure to bring your verifiable Earth curvature evidence, though.
Enemy spotted.
ChairmanMeow.
I do trust the footage from the International Space Station, yes.
Okay. See, trust is now, that's not belief, is it? You don't trust, I mean, you don't...
I do believe that it is true, yes.
Okay.
It is real.
Okay, so belief once again. That's good. Well, we're back to belief.
I don't know I don't know what your fixation on belief is.
My fixation is, Chairman, is that everybody who comes in here, they say, I have evidence of X, Y, and Z of the Earth being a globe. And we're like, no, you don't. You have a belief. And they're like, no, I know. We're like, no, you don't know.
What does that mean?
Well, that means,
though?
Right, check this out. So, and what I'm doing is just to show you that every time you think about this, whatever it is, that science knowledge that you have in your head, it's always going to result back to you having a belief. It's never going to turn back around to say, how do you know what you know?
Though? So does that disprove science because you believe it's true?
that actually puts you in a position to be a religious zealot for the belief. Just wait, like I'm going to tell you, it's like a religious zealot for the belief in the Earth being a globe, meaning that the best thing that you can do is come into a room like this and say, guys, I believe the Earth is a globe, and we're like, okay, can you demonstrate how it is? And you're like, I really can't demonstrate, but I can tell you my belief is strong in the globe. Like I can believe with all my heart and my mind, and I can tell you that that's evidence. That's what you're saying, right?
Well, no, I just believe no, hold on.
Okay.
I just believe that the scientific method is true.
There you go. Belief.
And okay.
Yay scientists, right? Yay scientists.
From TV said so.
Yeah, the TV said so. I mean, it's all good, right? You have a nice belief, and you can concentrate on other
supernatural deities.
Oh, so religion is based on other things, but you have a strong belief in science.
It's based on metaphysical concepts.
Okay, what is the globe Earth in the vacuum of space? Is that a real thing or a metaphysical concept?
You're on it right now.
Oh, we're on it. How do you know we're on the globe?
You're on the globe.
Wow, dude, you're laughing.
On it
How do you
because
know
you watch it on TV.
How do you know we're on a globe, Chairman?
I mean, I can walk outside and look around.
Have you seen a globe outside? Where can I see this globe when I walk outside?
TV.
When I walk outside, Chairman, where do I see the globe? Where is it located at?
You can't physically observe it due to your size relative to the Earth.
Well, I thought you said we can walk outside. You said we can walk outside, which we're gonna do, but now we can't see it.
I mean, you can look around and realize you're on the globe, but you have to realize you're so small.
Tell me, how do we do that?
You can see a TV around you.
How do we realize that we're on the globe, Chairman?
Just because you can't perceive.
We can't perceive it.
You can't unless you're in space. You can't.
Oh, we gotta go to space now. I thought you said we could walk outside. Now we gotta go to space.
I was just talking about being on the globe.
Are we on the globe? I'm asking you. Are we on the globe?
You're on something, brother.
We're on something. You don't know what we're on.
I think it's a globe. You apparently
you think it's a globe? That sounds a little like you're not sure, Chairman. You're not sure.
I know.
You know
it is a globe.
You know now. You know how do you know it's a globe?
Because there is.
What?
I have seen the globe from space.
You have? How the fuck did you do that?
Not me physically.
Not you physically. Okay, not physically. Okay, so what? But spiritually?
In TV.
No, there's a lot of media that shows that.
Media.
TV.
Which one? Which media?
TV.
Like I mean, media's in like photographic images or videos.
Okay, so once again, back to believing that these things are true. Remember, you said you had a belief in these things, so we're back to that.
Yeah, but not a supernatural belief.
Not a supernatural one, just a regular belief.
Not a metaphysical belief.
Not metaphysical. So what type of belief is this? It's a physical belief?
Yeah, based on physical reality.
Physical reality. What's physical about the belief that you have in the Earth being a globe? What's physical about it?
He saw it in TV. TVs are
Well,
physical.
well, okay. We can observe. You can, if you look at the moon during its phases, it's very obvious that it is a sphere.
It's a sphere. How do you know it's a sphere?
Because
you watched it in TV.
I have to watch TV to observe the moon's phases.
I don't know. You tell me. Where do you see the moon's phases?
I mean, if you look
In
at the moon
TV.
when it's like especially when it's like a half moon, you can see that it is a sphere.
It's a sphere when it's a half moon. So
No, it's a
I can
sphere
look
all the time.
It's a sphere all the time.
Yeah.
Not when it's a half moon, though.
No, it's easier to see that when it's like a half moon.
Oh, it's easier to see a sphere when it's a half moon.
It's easier to see the moon is a sphere when it's a half moon.
All right. So we know it's a sphere when we observe it in a half moon. Did I say it correctly? Is that right,
Sure.
Chairman? All right.
Sure.
So we can tell a geometric shape because we just look at one side of it. Are we seeing the whole side of the moon? Can we see the other side of the moon, or we're only seeing one face of the moon?
You can see it in TV.
Why? I don't know why you keep saying that.
Well, no, I mean
you can only see one side. You can only see one side of the moon because it's.
No, we can only see one side,
side.
but then obviously we could just make up that the other side is a sphere, right? It completes a sphere. We could just make that up.
No.
As you saw it in
No.
TV.
No, right?
Why would the rest of the celestial
I don't know. You're asking me a question
be...
that I can't answer. I don't think you have the answers for it either, which means you have to believe that it's a sphere, right? Because why else would it not be a sphere, right?
Well, because every observable object in the universe forms a sphere. Like if you
every observable,
water,
what other things are spheres that you didn't give? The moon
so
far is in a sphere.
In a vacuum, like if you look at water molecules in a vacuum,
we can see water molecules in a vacuum. Where do we see that at?
Hold on. What are molecules in a vacuum sublimate and turn to gases? What the fuck are you talking about?
TV.
Where do we see? Where do we see water molecules in a vacuum, Chairman? Point to the sky and show me where I need to look at to see that happen.
Okay. Well, here I'll just put like I think there's like a GIF or a GIF of it.
Okay. Let's see what you got.
This is brilliant. I thought the last contestant was awesome, but this one's even better.
I'm interested because
this is the first image that comes up.
Okay.
An image is not a photograph. You see images in TV.
So where did you see that? You said water molecules. Is that a water molecule? Chairman?
I mean, it's a collection of them.
It's a collection of water molecules. Okay. So we're seeing a collection of water molecules, and where is this location that they're being?
I'm laughing at the reactions to this. It's just the first one that came up.
That's fine. But so, okay.
It is funny.
Where is the location of that being taken? Of that video being taken?
On the International Space Station.
Okay, the ISS.
On TV.
Now, all right. So now, do you have a belief that that is happening there, or do you know 100% that that's going on? That's true.
I know that the International Space Station is in orbit above the planet because I've seen it with my own eyes.
You've seen it, dude. Have you seen the International Space Station with your? What does it look like? How many solar panels does it have? You've seen it, right?
I don't know. If I don't know that off the top of my head, that doesn't.
You don't know, but I thought you've seen it.
I don't have photographic memory for that. What are you talking about?
I know, but I thought you've seen it. Wouldn't it be an amazing sight? You could tell everybody, your friends and family, be like, dude, I've seen the ISS. I could tell you what it all looks like.
I literally watched it with people. Like you can download an app on your phone that tracks the International Space Station.
He saw a light. He saw a light.
Okay.
No, I saw it through a telescope.
You saw? Oh, that's what I'm asking. That's the detailed information I need, man. Good job. All right, so
Bro,
with that telescope,
that thing is going 17,000 miles per hour. You think you saw it on a telescope, and everybody saw it at the same time? You can only look at it with one eye at a time, and everybody saw it. Come on, bro.
No,
relative to you, it's not moving that fast. Like
relative to you. So why is it relative to? Well, first of all, I
Because
just
it's
want to.
so far up in the sky.
Okay.
It's
What
in
what
orbit.
details? Okay, fine. Let's get to the. I'm interested. What details did you see? Because you saw it. What details can you tell me about it? What was the event like? What did you see?
Well, as soon as it was getting ready to come into the sky above me, I turned my eyes over and looked at it, and then I looked in a telescope and I saw it.
What did you see though?
Simple.
God damn.
The
What does
international.
it
Why do
look
you gotta come in here and lie, dude?
What does
Why
it look
do
like?
Why
You
would
didn't
I
look
lie?
through a telescope. Listen, the ISS is supposed to be moving at like 1 degree in less than a second. The field of view of a telescope isn't even 1 degree.
That's
So
what
what are
I'm
you talking about?
saying.
I mean,
No, he
I
said he saw it, and everybody with him
You
saw
saw
it.
what, a flash?
No, I'm.
How fast do you think it is moving?
I just told you.
Like,
How fast
if
do you
1
think it's going?
degree in less than a second.
How fast
if
do you think it's
wa-
going,
if
Chairman?
Like, listen, if you recorded it transiting the sun, right, at 30 frames a second, you'd have 15 frames.
Huh?
All right.
Bro,
That's a little bit hard. No, don't
I
worry
think,
about that.
I
Check
think
this out.
that I think that the understanding of how fast it's moving is like it's kind of confusing because
Yeah,
it
you guys
sounds
are
like
dumb.
To who?
He,
You're
he
confused.
knows. He knows. You
No.
guys don't know.
Yeah,
No,
he's
like,
got the beat on this
if
thing, man. I'm telling you, Chairman really knows what's going on. I mean, he's laying it down to us right now. So so far,
okay, go ahead.
go ahead. No, you go. You go.
Like if you're observing it from the ground, because it's so far up in the sky, it doesn't look like it's moving as fast as you're describing it. Like
Oh
if
shit.
it was like 10 feet in front of your face,
All right.
then yeah,
That's cool.
it would be
All right.
it
Okay,
would
so
be
check
pretty
this
hard
out.
to observe.
From horizon to horizon, how many degrees is that?
Dude,
That's a
I
good
don't
question.
know. Here,
What
here's
is how many
here's a
degrees
gift-
in
here's
half a circle? Jesus
here's a-
Christ, dude.
Here's
It's
a GIF
180
of
degrees,
the
right?
ISS.
In half a
Here's
circle.
Here's a GIF of the ISS moving through the sky.
Yeah, that's slowed down.
No, it's not. I've seen it before.
Yeah,
It
that
moves
is.
not that fast.
Yeah, dude.
No,
But
why?
did you
What?
take this, Chairman? Did you take this? But by
I've
the way, like,
seen it
fine.
before.
All right, but
I don't have
hang
to.
on, dude, bro.
I didn't
You use a telescope, right?
There's
You use a
no
telescope.
belief. There's no
Chairman,
belief going
I
into
know that.
this.
All right, listen. When you looked at the telescope, what did you see? I've been asking this question for like a minute.
The
Oh,
International Space Station. Like I could
Dude,
see.
you
Like
keep saying that. I know that.
I
What
could
did
see
you?
its
What
solar
details?
panels. I could see like segments
Oh,
of it.
that's what I'm
Oh
saying.
my
How
God.
many?
It's getting worse.
Listen, how many solar panels did you see? How many?
I don't. It was literally years ago, dude. I don't remember.
Years ago. Okay. All right. Let's.
You couldn't
you
see
saw
it was moving too fast.
So, all right, you saw something, right? You saw something. That's fine. You saw something. But do you know if that thing that you saw had people inside of it? How could you tell that?
Well, there's
There's a window, man.
I've never been inside of it, obviously, because I'm not.
That part,
astronaut.
he watched it in TV for sure.
Yeah, there's the other side. So the thing that you saw was something, right? I'm not gonna discredit that you saw something, but what I'm asking though is there's a story behind what you saw, right? So
you can download an app that just shows you where it is in orbit,
Yeah,
and then you can
I
go
know.
outside and look at it in the
Chairman,
sky as it
I
passes over.
know. But what I'm saying is there's a story attached to that light that you're seeing move across the sky, right? It's a tin can. It's got people inside. It's flying around at 17,500 miles per hour. It's orbiting the Earth about 90 minutes. I know all that stuff. But
In
what
Narnia.
we're saying though is there's an idea about what you're seeing, right? So let's get back to where we're at. We're like trying to figure out this whole Earth situation. Let's stop looking at stuff and imagining there's people up there. Let's start getting to the real facts, right? The real facts is you just have a belief in the Earth as a globe. You told us yourself, right? You're not a religious person. You don't believe in God and all this good stuff, but you do believe in scientists, right?
I do believe that the scientific method is correct. Yes.
The scientific method. And when I asked you about the scientific method, you don't understand what it is or even how to begin. What's the first step of the scientific method?
It's observation.
Thank you. Thank the guy who's feeding you answers. Remember, we're gonna thank the DMs. All right, so this happens always, Chairman. You don't have to worry about it. Don't worry about it. We're used to it. All right, so what's the second step of the scientific method?
Man, I don't know. It's like
Well, phone a friend. They're eager to help you out.
I'm going off the top of my head. It's literally like you do an observation, you form a question, you form a hypothesis, you test the hypothesis.
You're reading that off of Google, man.
I'm not.
That's fine.
Yeah, dude, you are. Like, we've done this hundreds of times.
Well, no,
We know what comes up on Google.
The interesting thing is, and the reason why I'm asking you, Chairman, is because you said it before. I don't need to concern myself with any of this, and I told you that is great. You can sit back, relax.
School. What are you talking?
I know
about?
you learned it in school, but what they didn't teach you is how to think. They only taught you what to think. So the reason why I ask you the line of questions that I'm asking you is because there's nothing there. So you said that the Earth is a globe, and I said, demonstrate to me how it is. You said, well, you can just walk outside. Remember you said that, Chairman? You can just walk outside.
No. You asked how do I know I'm on the globe, and I said you walk outside. Not
all right.
You can't observe it's a globe.
You can't.
From your perspective. From your perspective.
Right. So how am I going to tell that it's a globe? Like, I need you to tell me, what steps do I need to take?
You would have to do a lot of research if you want to do that off your own, like just out of nothing. Like if you don't want to go off what other people.
Where do I need to look with my research? Maybe I was doing it wrong. Point me in the direction. What I need to do.
Well, you'll first have to look at the other celestial bodies.
Which ones? All of them?
Any of them.
Any of them. Okay, I'm gonna pick Polaris. Well, I'm looking at Polaris. What now?
It'll like you could easily do this if you were able to go up into space. Like if you went up into space, you could easily see that it was a sphere.
Easy.
Oh, does everybody need to go up into space to know it's a sphere?
I mean, if you really want to know, you might as well do it.
Okay, so if you don't go into space, your logic, right? You can't know it's a sphere.
I mean, you can.
Okay, so that's what I'm asking you for. How can I know it's a sphere without going to space?
Okay, if you want to know how you can observe it through your naked eye, you go to a region like the Great Plains, for example. Why can you only see toward a certain distance?
Which Great Plains are we talking about here? There's many on Earth.
Of the United States.
Oh, the Great Plains of the United States. Okay, is that a geographical location? Like what?
The Midwest.
Midwest. Anywhere?
Are you?
No, I'm just being real. Like I want to know where we can get the best view of the Earth.
Have you ever been to Kansas?
I think I passed through there, but I'm near there, by the way. Tell me where in Kansas I need to go so I can see the Earth as a globe.
Just go to the areas there like cornfields for miles and miles, and that's all flat area, okay? And you eventually, especially when the corn is not there, you can see that you can only see so far over the horizon.
You know what? It's already harvest time, so that time, but you just said there's no corn in those fields. I think it's fast approaching. You can bet there's no corn in those fields.
Like if you had like a laser, a laser pointer that you could see from like a really far distance away.
Like how far?
I mean, it's miles. Like
I know how many miles are we talking here? Give me.
I don't know that off the top of my head.
Well, I need to know something, dude. If I'm gonna see this thing as a sphere, I need to know what you've done.
I'm just telling you. Why would I do this?
Because you're telling me how to find out it's a sphere. I mean, you're giving me the roadmap to it, right?
If you really want to know, then this is how you can do that. Okay.
Okay. All right. Laser pointer, just any kind of laser pointer.
No
cornfields, or a cornfield with no corn.
One that you can see from miles away. It would have to be a really strong laser. Okay. And eventually, if you kept driving, eventually you would not be able to see it because it goes over the Earth's horizon, where it's
fucking hell, bro. You're blowing my mind. All right, so it's a line of sight. You're telling me I need a line of sight, right? Clear line of sight. This is what it sounds like, right?
Like if Earth was flat, you could look through like a really powerful telescope and you could see Europe.
Fuck, dude. Fucking blowing my mind, dude. Are you serious? Which telescope can do that?
You would need a really powerful one.
Fucking give me the name of it. I want that fucking telescope.
Lucifer.
The telescopes that they have in like Hawaii that they use to observe.
Fuck, dude. They got them. So how do I transport? How much does one of those cost?
I mean, it's probably millions of dollars.
So what you're
Oh,
telling
dude,
us,
Mm.
they're in
I don't got
Hawaii
that kind.
on
I don't have
Mauna
that kind of money.
Kea with a
Well,
super
then
powerful telescope, and the only reason they're not looking at chicks on Venice Beach is because of Earth curve.
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah, no, you're right. See, if you're in Hawaii, could I see LA? Because that telescope's in Hawaii. Couldn't I just see LA?
No, you could not.
Why, dude? I'm
Because there's
using
a curve. There's a curve to the Earth.
You
It's
just said
If,
not
that I
if,
couldn't
flat.
if
see.
the Earth was
Wait a
flat,
minute.
could you see LA?
No, I said.
Nah, hold
I
on
said
a
if,
fucking minute, dude.
I said if it was flat, you would be able to see LA.
Oh, you sold me
Would
a
we?
pipe dream. You sold me
You
a
really
pipe
believe
dream.
that?
Why would you not be able to?
You just told me using a powerful telescope you could see fucking Europe
If the Earth was flat,
from Kansas, bro.
if the Earth was flat, which it's not.
So then the whole thing about looking at the Earth as a globe, I can't see because I was asking you how can I see the Earth as a globe? I'm not looking at the Earth as flat. I'm looking at it if it's a globe. I want to see the globe, bro. You said go to a flat land.
I'm just describing how you can tell that it's not flat.
No,
it's
I
curved.
want to know how it's a globe. I'm asking you for globe evidence.
Again,
Yeah.
if you just want simple observations,
Yes,
you
that I
have to go
do.
into-
Where can I go see some simple observations of the globe on Earth?
Dude, you're torturing
You
this me.
you will have to go into you will have to go into space, man.
That's the only way.
Sometimes
Yep, there we go.
That-
So you
yeah,
don't know
that-
the Earth's a globe.
What the fuck?
Thanks. So you
That's
don't know
all
the
right.
Earth's a globe because you've never been to space, right?
I have never been to space, but I've seen.
Okay, so you don't know anything.
I do know some things.
What do you know?
What the fuck?
Well, I'm
Listen,
asking a question.
why?
You just
Why?
tell me what you know.
I want to ask him a question because this is just silly. Why do you think that you'd be able to see LA from Hawaii if you had a powerful enough telescope?
Again, if the Earth was flat,
Yeah, why do you think on a flat Earth that would happen?
why wouldn't you be able to?
Well, I mean, can you see through fog?
I mean, depends.
So
how thick
light
the fog
comes
is.
to the telescope, right? You don't see out with the telescope. Light comes to the telescope.
There's not a constant fog that's hovering over the ocean that you can't
Well,
see.
what is fog, right? There's a bunch of particles in the air in your line of sight, right?
Right.
And if there's a certain amount of power, hold on, listen. So if there's a certain amount of particles, right, you can't see anymore because the light can't penetrate through all those particles through that volume. Now, do you think, what's Hawaii from California, like 6,000 miles? So do you think you can see 6,000 miles of air?
I mean, first of all,
There's dust, water vapor, right? Sea salt, like you name it. And you're looking at light of the sun reflecting off some building in LA, that light shining 6,000 miles through the air, and then you picking it up through a telescope on top of Hawaii. That's what you're saying would happen on a flat Earth. That is patently ridiculous.
I don't think so. You're making it sound like there's like constant like conditions for fog and like.
Well, in a 6,000 mile stretch, how many storms are there? Just rainstorms.
I mean,
if I just took any random 6 mile stretch on Earth, how many rainstorms would be in between point A and point B? It'd be at least one, right?
Sometimes none.
Sometimes none. Where? Like even the Sahara Desert isn't 6,000 miles across. You're talking about the Pacific Ocean here.
I mean, first of all, I don't know that it's 6,000 miles. I'm just taking your word for that. But
okay, let's say it's 3,000. Let's say it's 1,000 miles.
Okay, from the distance from Hawaii to California, let's say, sometimes there are no like thunderstorms in between that distance. Sometimes there are. Sometimes there are multiple.
It would have to be any weather.
No,
any weather at all would make it so the light doesn't reach you.
You would
eventually you understand that there's actually calculations for this, right? That you can do based upon the clarity of the air. It's called the Rayleigh atmosphere. The farthest the brightness of a light can shine is 296 kilometers. So the fall off of light through any medium, doesn't matter what it is, air, Now, air is transparent at short distances, but you know from your own personal experience that at long distances, it's not transparent. That the further you look at something, it gets hazier and hazier and hazier.
Like
right?
right now, there are no storms in between Hawaii and California. There are none.
Yeah, and that it doesn't matter because in between you and Hawaii are water vapor, dust particles, right? Plus the
Dust
air
particles.
itself. Air is not transparent. Dust particles, there's dust in air. You are aware of that, right?
It
No,
depends on
air
the
is not
weather
transparent at
conditions.
all. Like, no,
It-
it's not at all.
It
We know
depends on the
this.
weather conditions.
Okay, it's either less or more not transparent. The air is opaque. We
There are
know this.
times-
We've tested this. The scientific method that you said you believe in, this has been tested. It's a known thing, right? If you go on your local weather, right? When you look at your weather, why does it have a visibility? It says visibility 10 miles. Why does it say that?
Because certain weather conditions change that visibility.
Right. Does it ever say you can see to California?
That would never happen.
We know that because we know
Because
from
the Earth's curved. It has a curve.
No,
It's not
no.
flat.
The calculation of visibility has nothing to do with
working
Earth curve.
backwards from your
The
conclusions.
calculation for
You
visibility
want to
has
say that it's
nothing to do
flat.
with Earth curve. The calculation for visibility has nothing to do with Earth curve. They calculate the visibility. They sample the air. They take the air pressure. They take the water vapor. They take the relative humidity, and they calculate how far the visibility is. And Earth curve is not a variable in that equation. When they build a lighthouse and they want to know how far can we see that light, they calculate how bright the light is, how transparent the air is, and whether they'd be able to see it at a certain distance. They don't calculate it for Earth curve. The idea that you reflected light off a building in LA could go whatever 1,000 miles, let's say it's 1,000, through the air and reach a freaking telescope on top of Hawaii is absurd.
I mean, there are definitely conditions where, like, some weather conditions where that would be, if the Earth was flat, it would work.
And then you have to consider what's the angular size of fucking some building in Hawaii from Hawaii.
I mean, we can use this
Like the
telescope
size of
to
a nickel
observe.
10 miles away? Like, is that the
If we
equivalent
can-
size?
If we can use this telescope to observe celestial bodies, like, that are not even comparable to the distance between California and Hawaii.
How do you know that?
Because you can go out there with your own telescope, which I've done before.
Yeah, and how can I tell how far away they are by looking through a telescope?
I mean, it's all relative.
How can I tell how far away they are by looking through a telescope? You've done it yourself. You just said it. You measured the distance of stars looking through a telescope, apparently.
I mean, I don't even know the distance off the top of my head, so.
Well, then how do you know they're farther away than Hawaii?
Because of the relative size.
What does that mean?
They're planets. And if you look at them, you can go outside right now and look up in the sky. And if the visibility
and I
is
see a
good
little
enough,
dot.
yeah.
And I get a telescope and I see a little bit bigger dot.
Right, depending on how strong the telescope is.
Well, that's not really how it works, but anyway.
It is.
No, it's not. Telescopes don't work by zoom, right? They don't work by magnification. They work by the angular, the resolving power of the telescope. So that goes by the diameter and not the focal length.
I didn't say that. I said that it depends how powerful your telescope is.
Yeah, power in a telescope is calculated in the angular resolution of the telescope.
Sure.
So it doesn't make it bigger, right? It's still the same size.
I mean,
you've just cut down the field of view so that in whatever image you're looking at, it's taking up a larger portion of the image. But it didn't change size. It doesn't look any bigger.
I mean, it will look bigger to you who is observing it relative to if you're.
But how can you tell how far away it is? How do you know? Like, okay, they say Mars is. Let's take the moon. They say it's 300,000 miles away, and it's a quarter of the radius of the Earth. Well, how do you know it isn't half the radius of the Earth and 150,000 miles away, or an eighth of the size of the Earth and 600,000 miles away?
So you would first have to determine what the size of the object is, and then.
Okay, how do we do that? That's what we're trying to determine.
I mean, I don't know how they do that, honestly. I don't know the way that they measure that, but you have to have
They
some
don't
sort
measure.
of instrument. You have to have some sort of instrument and also some sort of like equation.
Okay, so but what you said is we know that these things are far away, but to know how far away they are, we need to know the size. But we can't know the size unless we know how far away they are. Do you see the problem?
That's how it's determined usually.
You,
I mean,
it's determined by not being able to determine either value unless you have the other value.
So if you look through a telescope just with your naked eye, you won't be able to determine the size of anything. Like,
or distance.
I mean, you won't be able to put it down like a number, but you can tell how far away it is if you know the size of it relative to other objects.
But you need to know those sizes of those objects. How'd you get those?
EV.
Do you see the problem? We have a first value problem, right? We don't have an absolute value, an absolute numerical value of a measure, right? All we have is angles, right? And that's all we have. We can't get the size without the distance, and we can't get the distance without the size. So you're saying these things are far away. You're just saying that. You're saying they're farther away from California and Hawaii. You're just saying that. You don't know that. Nobody knows that.
I feel like that's a pretty common fact.
Feel?
That Mars is farther away than Hawaii to California? Do you think there's like
Is that how you feel?
You look up in the sky and say, well, these are really tiny to me, so they must be really tiny.
Well, they could be. But that's the thing about looking at things in the sky is that because we have no distance cues and because there's no parallax from which to tell how far away they are, they all look technically like they're the same distance. Right? You can't look at a planet and look at a star and go, that one's farther than that one. You can't look at any given star and go, that star's farther than this star.
You guys in the comment or in the chat, I don't know, like he hasn't proved anything here.
Look, I proved one thing, that you don't know how far away any of those celestial objects are. You don't know if they're farther or not as far away as Hawaii. And your claim that, well, we should be able to see Hawaii because the stars are XYZ far away when you don't know how far away they are. And even if that was true, looking up is not looking through the thickest part of the air now, is it? It's a false equivalence. Well, the thing is, we know there's an equation for calculating how far light travels through air, and you would not be able to see Hawaii from fucking LA or vice versa. You can just go on Wikipedia, right? There's an entry, it's called Visibility Meteorology. Just type that shit in and look it up. It's 296 kilometers.
I just explained that the case that you're making that because of things like the different factors like moisture in the air and particles in the air, you're making it sound like because that exists, that means at all times if the earth was flat, you wouldn't be able to see across the ocean because of these particles.
Exactly.
But that you don't have any evidence to suggest, like you want me to prove that these things exist. I
don't have any evidence to suggest what?
That there are the amount of particles that are in the air obstruct the vision so much that you can't observe across the ocean.
You have to think about what you're trying to observe and how big it is from where you are, right? So you know how things get smaller with distance?
Yeah.
The farther something gets away from you, it appears to shrink in size. Now, what's the tallest building in Los Angeles? Now, let's imagine that the Earth is flat and you had the most gigantic telescope ever invented. And you go to look at a building in Los Angeles. How big is that building?
I don't know.
It's probably like the equivalent size of a nickel from 10 miles away.
I mean, depending on how you're observing it, yeah.
Well, what do you mean depending on how you're? It has a definite angular size. I could punch it
There are
into an angular size calculator and figure it out right now.
There are instruments that you could use to make it easier to observe that, and the size would be larger.
Okay, no, it isn't going to change the angular size. It's only going to have one angular size. Now you can use zoom, right, and blow up that, right? You can use 10 times zoom and make it 10 times bigger, but you're not going to get any resolving power, right? Which means you're not going to have any more fine details. It's the same as like taking, if you took a 512 pixel by 512 pixel image and blew it up to 5,120 pixels, you're not getting more pixels of information, right? It's just going to be a big blurry mess.
I didn't say that happens.
I'm just telling you, this is the same thing. Now you can try and zoom in on frickin' LA from the top of Hawaii. It's just going to be a big blurry mess.
I just suggested that because that's the location of one of the most powerful telescopes on the Earth.
Well, you can take whatever. Listen, you could take the one in the Canary Islands, which is like 10.5 meters, man. You can use that. It ain't gonna help you either, because the light doesn't reach the telescope.
So, what's preventing you from doing the same thing on land?
What are you talking about? You can do it wherever you want.
So why couldn't you take a very powerful telescope on land in a flat area, that like a plains area, the place that's predominantly flat? Why couldn't you see further than
because light still has to. Land would be worse because there's more dust and shit, but and there's CO2. I'm not going to get into that. The point is that light still has to reach the telescope.
Dude. It's not the Dust Bowl, man. You can
observe
relative to the conditions of that time.
Okay.
Like,
does light still have to reach the telescope? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay.
That's how.
So what? How does it change? How does anything change by going from sea to land? You still have the same problem.
I was just saying that those particles that you're referring to, you were saying fog at first, but
that's part of it. But the air itself, you could listen. You could have the clearest possible air. Dude, I just posted, dude. Dude, it's literally an entry on Wikipedia, dude.
What?
This is not like made up flat earther bullshit, dude.
No, it is.
This is mainstream science bullshit.
Listen, man, it's relative to the weather conditions. It's not like a constant.
When light passes through any medium, that medium absorbs and attenuates the light. It does not matter.
But that medium is not constant.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't. It can be fucking.
It actually does matter.
Listen, I will give you the best possible fucking viewing conditions imaginable. Okay? The air is perfectly calm. There's no humidity. It's a complete fucking. It's like where they make computer chips, right? It's climate controlled. There's no dust. There's no anything. The air itself, the atoms and molecules, those absorb light without aerosols.
How do you know those are real? Those atoms. How do you know that's real?
Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah. Okay. Is that where we're going now? Now nothing's real. Let's blow up reality because
I'm using your own argument.
What argument?
That anything.
I'm telling you that your hypothesis that you should. No, listen. I haven't made an argument. I'm telling you that your hypothesis that you should see LA from Hawaii is wrong and just dumb, quite honestly.
It's. I'm using your logic, so there's no reason why.
What logic?
If the Earth is flat, all right, there's no reason why you would not be able to observe further.
I just told you the reason. I just literally told you the reason.
It's not like sound. What you're saying is like there's this constant matter that's in the way of you being able to observe.
Yes. So light is electromagnetic radiation. Atoms have electromagnetic properties. So when the light passes through it, it induces, right, an electromagnetic field.
Like
It applies a field, and then there's an induced field. Then the resulting field causes the atoms to polarize. And because these atoms polarize, right, they absorb the energy of the light. They absorb it. It's called absorption and attenuation. This is the basic physics of light. There's even a law. It's called Beers-Lambert law. So the further you go through an optical path, any optical path, if it's a medium, depending on the wavelength of light and depending on the properties of the medium, it will be absorbed. This absorption is exponential. It's not a linear relationship. Like if you go twice the distance, half the energy's gone. No, if you go twice the distance, 10 times the energy's gone. And if you go 3 times the distance, 100 times the energy's gone. And if you go 4 times the distance, 1,000 times the energy's gone.
But that also is that it depends how powerful the magnification of the telescope is. Like
light still comes to the telescope.
Right.
Yeah, so it has to reach the telescope. If it doesn't reach it in the first place, you can have the biggest telescope you can imagine, and it don't matter.
Well,
because the light never reaches the telescope.
It would if the conditions of the weather permitted.
Yeah, if you lived in a vacuum, which we don't.
So where can you show me that there is this constant these constant bits of matter that obstruct your view from certain distances?
You're questioning whether there's air between Hawaii and California.
No, I'm asking whether these particles that you're referring to, like water molecules.
Yeah, air. The air, dude. The air itself.
Okay.
What aren't you understanding? The air itself.
It's not like there's a constant fog over the ocean, though.
Dude, the air itself, there could be no... I already said this, I'm going to say it again. There could be literally no particulates or aerosols in the air. Right? Nothing. It's just pure fucking air, climate controlled, 99.999999% dust free, zero humidity, perfectly fucking dry. The air itself, the nitrogen and the oxygen and the trace gases, they're going to absorb the light.
Depending on how
there is no depending. The only variable is wavelength. The different wavelengths get absorbed differently.
It depends on the weather conditions. If
doesn't depend on the weather at all.
Okay, then why is there fog sometimes, and why is there only fog during certain?
That just makes it worse. Like, what are you arguing? That it's absorbed, and then sometimes it's even worse than what I thought.
No, I'm about to, bro.
Good.
Well, I mean, that's fine. But listen, you've been outside, and there's some days you can see really far, and there's some days you can't, right? You can agree on that, right?
Yeah.
And you're just talking about very small distances, 10, 20 miles. We're talking about thousands of miles. And you're thinking you're going to see something that is tiny. Tiny. Do you know how tiny Los Angeles would be from fucking Hawaii? It would be infinitesimally small, dude.
Like Mars.
It'd be like trying to see a cell in your hand with your eyeballs.
Well, with your naked eye, yeah.
Yeah, that's what. Listen, I mean, you can do all these calculations. They're pretty simple. You don't even have to do the calculation. They have calculators. You can just calculate it.
Mars' distance from Earth is 140 miles. Okay.
140 miles.
Yeah.
The fuck?
Or 140.
Can
million.
I drive there?
Fuck, dude.
No, 140 million.
What are you smoking, bro? What
Closer than ISS.
Sorry, 140 million miles. Okay.
Bro, can I get some of the stuff you're smoking?
No shit.
Yeah, yeah. So
it's all for me. It's all for me. Okay.
So listen,
140 miles away is Mars.
Don't you mean 141 million miles?
Yes. God damn it, I do.
Well, it's also 43 million miles.
Whoopsie.
It depends. Right? In their model, sometimes it's 43 million miles. Sometimes it's like 140 something million.
Chairman, I think you just need to go back to where you just believed everything, man. Just go back to where you just Don't worry about this stuff, man. You just gotta
So
believe.
I want to
That's all.
talk about the ISS
I
tracker,
didn't
though.
come
The
here to
ISS
debate
tracker.
shit. You
Spot
asked
the
me to
Station.
do this.
So I want to talk about Spot the Station. Now, if I go on this little Spot the Station app and I go outside and I don't see the ISS, is it not there?
Wait, you have to repeat yourself. I'm sorry.
If I go outside, right, with my little phone app, Spot the Station, and I
Right.
look in the sky where they say look, and I look at the time they say to look, and I don't see it, does that mean it's not there?
It'd have to depend on the visibility, like due to multiple factors.
Yeah, so basically, if you see it or you don't see it, that's proof that it's there.
No.
Yeah, you're right. Correct. No. So just seeing a light in the sky doesn't frickin' mean anything.
Okay, but what if I've seen it through like an instrument that magnifies that?
Yeah,
Like,
you also said you saw the panels, dude. Like you've never looked through a telescope powerful enough to see that. The panels are like 4 meters apart from each other. You could do a simple calculation. How powerful a telescope do I need to see a 4 meter gap, right? You need something like a 10-foot fucking telescope. You didn't look through a 10-foot telescope.
Could I see each individual panel? No, but you could make out. I know what the.
I'm just talking about the gap in the panel. I'm talking about the big ass panel, right?
I never claimed that I could see that.
What did you see?
I just saw the when I say I saw the panels, I know what the ISS looks like, and I could see.
Well, how does it look like then? Tell me how it looks like.
How did you know what it looked like before you saw what it looks like?
Because I've seen images of it. I've seen people like doing spacewalks. Like
you've seen stuff, but it keeps coming back to you just believed all of this stuff is true. We're going right back to belief. So you don't know the Earth is a globe. You just believe it is, right? Just let's just cut to the chase. Just say you believe the Earth is a globe.
I do believe it is a globe. Yes.
Doesn't that feel good? Now you got it off your chest. You see how free that feels to say that.
You guys are so like fixated on making this.
Yeah,
like,
because the thing is, you think you know shit, and you don't, Chairman. You just believe it. That's all it's ever been. Is a belief.
I literally said when we began this conversation that I'm trusting people who know more about this than
there you
I
go.
do.
Yeah, just
do you know what they know?
Just like a priest.
But how do you know what they know?
Well, it's called peer-reviewed studies.
You peer-reviewed some of their studies. What did you peer-review?
I didn't claim that I did.
Most peer review is just wrong.
So you trust that someone peer-reviewed their studies. You're trusting that. You're believing, right? You just
That's usually how they come up to a consensus.
So you just believe that happened.
You don't know. What the fuck is that?
Like they think that it's true.
Listen, if consensus determined truth, airplanes wouldn't exist.
How so?
Because the people that invented the airplane, they invented it at a time when scientists thought airplanes were impossible.
But that's the whole point of science. Like it evolves as time as our
scientists didn't invent the airplane. The Wright brothers did.
Like as our
the scientists with their peer-reviewed papers had peer-reviewed papers that said airplanes were impossible. And then these dudes that graduated from high school.
Their theory was wrong, though. That's how.
So what are you trying to tell us? That there was a consensus that was wrong. So like, why are you believing that?
There was a consensus one time within like most of humanity that the Earth was flat.
Yeah, but what are you going to consensus though? Because you just believe. You don't know anything. That's what you're going through life knowing.
It wasn't a consensus. It wasn't. There was no club like the Flat Earth Club. People just experienced reality. Right, when they went outside, it looked flat. It seemed like it was motionless, and that's what they were like. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, because
like there's trees, right? People go outside, they see trees. There wasn't like a consensus that trees exist. People were just like looking at trees.
Yeah, that's an easy observation to make, though.
Yeah, so is that the Earth's flat. That's an easy observation to make.
relative to your size, you
That is a
probably come to
cope.
the conclusion in a vacuum.
That is literally a
You
cope.
don't know that, dude. You just believe it. You just finished telling us you believe the Earth is a globe. Why the fuck are you gonna go back to saying that that's true? You don't know that, dude.
If we're gonna have this conversation, which I didn't come in here to necessarily have, I just wanted to listen to what people were
Well,
saying.
I can't tell, dude. You're like 40 minutes in.
I'm just talking.
You're lying to yourself, bro.
Questions.
You did want to have this.
Listen,
You did want to have this conversation. You're lying to yourself. You did want to have it.
I did not want to have.
Yeah,
this
you did. Now I'm gonna get you to admit that that's the truth. So admit the truth that you did come in here and have a conversation.
I literally just wanted to hear what people were talking about.
Then why are you talking
Look,
for like
look,
40 minutes?
Look, hold on a second.
Question and we're having
So
a
then
conversation.
you
Well,
want to
I got a
talk.
question.
Nobody can force you to talk.
I don't. I would rather be doing something else, but this conversation's going on.
Oh, dude,
I got a question.
Somebody holding you here?
No.
Nah, Miggy, don't let him leave. I want to ask him a question about the
Oh, he's gonna
trees.
ask you.
About the trees. Now, the trees are obviously, they exist. We see them. We go outside. Yeah. When we go outside, it's obvious that the Earth looks flat, and it's obvious that it seems like it's motionless. But what you're saying is, well, I have an idea in my head in which it only looks flat, and that's just like a figment of your imagination, right? Now, what if I told you I have a mental construct where that's not really a tree, that's a freaking killer whale, and that your senses are deceiving you? You know, that some freaking weird optical illusion where a tree only looks like a tree, but it's actually a big fish.
That would be a massive leap in logic.
And you don't think imagining you're on a ball that's too big to perceive is a leap of logic?
I mean, considering that the rest of the planets, if we observe them, are spheres, like the rest of the.
What makes you think Earth is a planet, though?
Why?
You just believe
what
it.
makes you think? What makes you think it's not?
You just believe it, though, Chairman. Fill it in.
What makes you think it's not? I just told you why. Because when you go outside, you observe the Earth is flat and motionless. What makes me believe it's not? So we're dealing with evidence, right? There's the evidence of our experience.
Well, I don't have any reason to think that the Earth is an exception to the rest of the celestial bodies.
What? Why do you think the Earth is a celestial body?
Because, I mean,
because you see it in the sky. Do you see it in the celestial sphere or something? Is there a big mirror up there?
There are, like, if you look at the other celestial bodies, like
other than what?
Like the rest of the planets in the solar system.
I already asked you. Why do you think you keep saying other planets? Other than what?
What do you, I mean? Other than other relative to Earth.
What makes you think Earth is a planet?
I mean, there's nothing that would make me think otherwise. Like you.
I just told you. You just go outside and you see that it's flat and motionless, which indicates that it's not a planet. The planets are A, not flat, and B, not motionless.
Let's go back to like the International Space Station.
You fuck no, like, dude. No, fuck that. You don't even know if that, dude. No, fuck. Why do you want to do that, dude? You're gonna make you believe stuff, bro. You only believe.
I'm just talking about relativity here. Like
you don't know about what's relativity. What's relativity? What is relativity, bro? You don't know what you're talking about. You're just gonna go on in a circle. And then you said, "This is what you said." I didn't want to have this conversation. I can't tell. Now I want you to admit that you did want to have the conversation. You continue, bro. Just
look. I'm really trying to dude. I'm trying to simplify this for you, right? So if we just like analyze this from first principles, right? Forget the derivative arguments, the space station, there's fucking planets, satellites, black holes, fucking galaxies, all that shit. Let's just go from first principles. We don't know anything. We didn't read any books. We don't know about freaking any Greeks. We just got here. How do we figure out what the Earth is? Starting from we're gonna start from scratch. Let's start over.
Starting from scratch? Well,
yeah. So what do we have to do first, right? We have to observe the world. Right, you even said it's scientific method, it's observation.
You would have to question. You would have to have that.
So what's our what's our initial observation of the Earth?
You would have to look. You would look up at especially the moon. You can.
So your observation of the Earth is to look up.
Well, hold on. So, like,
Think about
if
what you're
you
saying.
so you can't observe that the Earth is a sphere from your small perspective. Like, you can't
Okay,
see it.
you're already jumping way too far down the road. We're going to go from we don't know anything. We don't have any concepts. We have no biases. We're just starting from scratch. We're going to make an observation, just like, what is it? And from first impression, it looks flat and seems like it's motionless. Right?
I
That's
mean,
the first
from your
impression.
perspective, yeah.
Well, that's you rationalizing after the fact.
I mean,
That's you
from your
trying to
perspective,
rationalize.
I mean,
That's you
that's
trying to
what
come up with a reason why you're fucking living in an. That's you trying to construct what I see as an optical illusion.
I mean,
Okay,
you can say
you're
the same
trying to.
thing about microscopic organisms and things that you can't perceive with the naked eye.
What are you talking about?
Well,
Fucking
you
brought up
not
microscopic organisms.
you can't observe that, so how do you know that's real?
You can observe it. That's how we know they exist.
Well, no, you're just
We didn't
trusting.
think of
Yeah,
them in
you
our
see
head.
him, bro. What the fuck?
No, I've seen them through
You are
microscopes.
fucking.
Then-
Why did you bring up something you can actually see? I don't understand. Why did you do
Because
that,
you
Chairman?
can see things like the celestial bodies like Mars.
Yeah, but we're talking about the Earth. Look,
Okay.
you keep it's like keep doing the same thing over and over again. I want to know what my house is, so I'm going to look at somebody else's house.
I mean, you can. I know you've not observed like um
What?
the subatomic atoms.
Subatomic atoms, bro. Why are you going?
Yeah, you're
You-
right. I haven't. No one's ever
Okay.
imaged one.
Well, they
But we
have.
can isolate
you-
them, right?
Have you?
And we can make a pure form of them, and we can do chemistry, right? And we can do those things so we know they exist
But
through
you're
experiment.
trusting people at the
I don't have to
the
trust anybody. I can do these experiments myself. Chemistry's pretty, I wouldn't say it's
you
simple, but anyone can do it.
to do an experiment by yourself to like like be able to observe subatomic particles.
You don't even know what that is, do
Dude,
you?
first of all, you're trying to make a false
I do.
equivalence,
You don't know
right?
what that is. You just said. What are they?
They're the particles that make.
They're
Okay.
subatomic.
Okay,
All right.
but
Uh,
but you're
You
trying
don't
to
know
make a
what you're
false
talking
equivalence. And let
about.
me tell you why it's a false equivalence. Okay,
All right. Tell me
something
this
too
and
small to see is one thing. Seeing something and saying that's not actual reality, it's actually something else. That's a whole nother thing.
Okay.
Okay, you're saying I looked at the world, I went to the ocean, and I saw that big flat piece of water, but that's just a fucking optical illusion, and it's actually a giant fucking ball that just looks flat. That's a rationalization.
Okay.
That's not like you don't have evidence of that. That's why we're starting from scratch. We're going to reconstruct the globe with evidence, with actual empirical evidence. So from our first, like, okay, it looks flat, it's motionless. That's my default position. Why would I default to? Oh, that's an optical illusion. Why would that be your default position?
I don't know.
And there we have it. Nobody knows, but for everybody, that's their default position because that's what they were told in school.
It's flat. I guess I'll just assume it's flat, right?
You don't have to assume it. You can just observe it in reality.
You can walk
Oh,
out your door and see it, just like you said earlier.
I can just walk out my door and I look around and say, "Well, this must be flat."
Fuck yeah.
You don't even have
Okay.
to think about it.
Okay.
Because if you go up in an airplane, you're not gonna be like, "Oh man, I better tip down over the curve," or like if you sail a
Yeah.
boat, you're not gonna be like, "Whoa, we're sailing over the curve to freaking Hawaii." You're like,
you
you're
don't
not gonna think that
okay.
shit. You're like,
You
man,
don't
it's
have
a
to
flat
believe.
ass ocean.
You don't have to
I'm not
believe
gonna
like you do
sit
with the
and-
globe.
I'm not gonna sit and explain why what you said is not
Because you
true.
can't. Because you just believe. You
All
just.
right,
You don't have to
I'm
believe.
not.
Hey, look,
I'm
on a
done.
frozen
I'm
lake,
done,
do you
bro.
think?
I'm done.
Look, do you think a
Stop, bro.
frozen lake is curving? Did he leave?
Dude.
Too much.
I think you broke him like about an hour ago, and he just.
And
I
he was
don't
like,
know.
and he was like, "Fuck no, I want more. Fuck that."
Guy's digging in his guts to see how he works.
He's like, "You don't need these fucking guts going out your right shoulder and shit."
What is your profession?
See, old friend, I brought more soldiers than you did.